Solomon Dersso is the founding director of Amani Africa. It's a pan-African think tank that works on peace, security policy and diplomacy in Africa. He's joining us from Addis Ababa. So thank you very much indeed for being with us on Al Jazeera. We're noting here that on January 4th, the M23 fighters and those fighting with them took control of a coltan mining hub in North Kivu province, which seems to be one of their key targets. From your perspective, is this about attempting to take control of the country, or is this all about getting mining rights?
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's a complex mix of issues that are at play. Obviously, economic factors can't be discounted, and political and security considerations are at play. The M23 has been calling for and seeking to have direct talks with the government in Kinshasa. On its part, the government in Kinshasa for a long time has been reluctant to engage in that kind of direct talks with the M23, considering the M23 as a terrorist group and other group that is sponsored by a foreign force that is basically Rwanda. In the light of the developments during the course of this month, the initial expectation was that the M23 would stop at Goma, perhaps use the successes that they have registered as a leverage to mobilize action towards peace process in which there would be direct talks with the government in DRC. But it looks like that they are actually now moving further into Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu.
If I understand it correctly, previous attempts to try to find some diplomatic solution to this have foundered, not least because, if I understand it correctly, and please explain to me if I've got this wrong, Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, who was involved in previous talks, had said that as part of a deal that the rights, the mining rights, the mineral rights in Congo should be handed over to representatives from M23, and on that basis the talks foundered. It seems as though that if that is a key element of demands made by M23 in Rwanda, it's going to be very difficult to find some sort of ceasefire solution to this.
I haven't come across an instance in which President Kagame actually explicitly stated that the idea of this war is about securing mining rights for the M23. If that is the case, indeed, it would be a complete departure from what we have heard over the course of these past months, including when President Kagame actually held a press briefing with journalists on the 9th of January. That the origin and progression of this conflict goes back to questions of protection of Kenya, Rwanda speaking populations in Eastern DRC about the protection of their rights. And of course, there is also a link to the security issues that emerged post-1994 after the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994 in Rwanda, with the departure and establishment of bases in Eastern DRC by the FDLR. Rwanda has been raising concern, and indeed, within the framework of, for example, the African Union-led peace process that President of Angola has been leading, these issues have all been presented as the primary issue. But the economic dimension and the resource dimension of it is also something that has been recognized, not least of all, for example, in the context of the decisions by the Peace and Security Council of the African Union and by that of the UN Security Council, such as during their annual consultative meeting that was held in October in New York, where reference was made
Sorry, forgive me for interrupting
Yes,
you, but I
please.
do want to kind of like look forward a little bit about how this could develop. Obviously, we're talking about forces from M23 who are being augmented by forces from Rwanda. If I understand it correctly, on the Congolese side, they are working with forces from Burundi. There may well be others. I've seen suggestions that there may other be troops working alongside the Congolese forces as well. If they are we likely to see more forces from outside Congo moving in to take part in this? And if that is the case, is there a risk that this could actually spill over the borders of Congo and move into its neighbours?
There is a heightened risk of countries in the region being sucked into this fast developing fighting and expanding conflict in Eastern DRC, including particularly with the announcement from the M23 that they may actually even go as far as marching into Kinshasa. You can be sure that neighboring countries of DRC will not just watch sitting down while the M23 tries to march into Kinshasa. That would be, a clear signal for the possibility of other countries coming in. And it would be, in some ways, a replay of what happened in 1998 and 2000 in the so-called Congo regional war that drew in the various neighboring countries from Southern Africa and from East Africa.
Solomon Dersso, we're very grateful to you for being with us on Al Jazeera and just giving us that analysis of what's going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.